Wednesday, August 26, 2026. It's about 4:06 p.m. right now. The title of this video, I'm not sure what it will be. I wanted to talk about, I guess, I don't like saying it's my testimony. There was just a life experience that happened to me when I was 16 years old. It was the last day of school during junior year of high school, and that summer it would be my summer going into senior year before going off to college the next year in 2017. Junior year, 6 months prior to the end of the year, the school year, that was June. So about, I'd want to say November, October, December of 2015, I began smoking marijuana. I smoked for about 6 months until this event that I'm going to discuss changed a lot of things in my life. And I'm not asking for any sympathy or empathy if you guys watch this video, and thank God that you guys watch this video, and may God bless you if you guys watch this video, and may God bless your family and your friends and your loved ones. It was a few months before I was gonna turn 17. My birthday is in November. And the beginning of summer was in June 19th of 2016. Why do I remember dates of this? It's just because the school year. I remember more so of the school year and the days when we were set to graduate. I do my best. I don't do my best. God really gave me the realizations I had to receive from that event when I was 16. And that last day of school, me and two other friends, we went to our normal spot where we would smoke near the school and stuff. And that one day when we went, there was already a man sitting. We called it the Blave. There's multiple names for it, but it's basically like a cave of trees and you have a little view in front of you, and certain trees had made a natural bench where you could just sit and do your thing. If you know, you know. And there was already a man there, and the man was homeless, and there was other people there that we have never seen there before. To make a long, boring story short, it ended up being laced with their product, and through the years I come to find that I think it was at least PCP, and it could have been whatever other things that they liked or were into. But the main effect that I received from that lace experience was the PCP. And the bong was about 5 foot. It was a 5-foot bong. And that was the first time I think I've ever smoked from that big of a bong, and that was the first time I smoked any hard drug. And then all I remember, even before I ripped the bong that was laced, I could see one of my best friends at the time. He was already tripping out. He was sitting on the bench of the tree bench, and he was already just tripping out. And I still went for it. And then what ended up happening was, not even a few minutes later, every noise that was entering my ears was the loudest screeching you could possibly think of. It's probably like, I can't even compare the sound. It was terrifying. Like, in the sense where if you were to hear that sound for 5 minutes, I think you would blow your eardrums out. Because the cars down below in the plaza where, they're not nearby, but you could hear the cars going by, you could hear the birds, you could hear the people talking near. But all of that input was what that noise I'm describing you was terrifying. And then I realized my vision was all, you guys, if you ever seen a photo on your computer or your laptop, that's still pixelated and loading up, and it's not clear yet, but you could see the pixels. That was my vision. My vision was turning into pixelated form, and I couldn't see anything, like how, the tree, the leaves, my body, everything in my vision was becoming pixelated. And then and then the last thing happened. Well, not the last thing, but the next thing that occurred after my vision and my hearing were going crazy, my whole body became paralyzed. I couldn't move. I was just stuck in my head, in my consciousness, or in my mind, however you want to describe it. But how you describe it, you're correct, okay? This is only my interpretation, my perspective of it, but everyone who knows, who is on the journey of healing themselves and is on the journey of seeking God, then you know that words don't do it justice. So, and I'm not even, and this is just a reminder that the words that I'm saying aren't for sympathy, aren't for empathy. It's not for me to bring emotion out of myself to make you guys feel emotional. No. I'm explaining all of this, and it's all gonna come back, okay? So when I became paralyzed and I was stuck in my mind, I literally couldn't move, and the screeching was the loudest, just getting louder and louder, and my vision was pixelated, blurry, couldn't see nothing. It was as if I was becoming blind. And then the next thing I know after being paralyzed was after a minute, and it seemed like forever, but after like 1 minute, as I was sitting on after I became in the trenches, but as I was sitting on that wood bench, and I couldn't move, I couldn't hear nothing but terrifying things, and then the pixelated vision, I remember just running down the hill, where the view I was talking about, where that place is at, I just started running down the hill, and then I had a scar on my right calf for a couple years. It's not there anymore, I don't think. I got a tattoo over it, actually. But literally, I had a big old scar, not like stitches or anything, but just a big old scar that was bleeding from me running down the hill. And I fell on my back with my face facing the sky. And all I remember when I was in that moment was eternal darkness. The eternal darkness that the atheists call or seem to believe when you die, that all you see is eternal darkness, which, by the way, do not listen to the doctrines of Orthodox or Catholic churches, because their versions of hell are not even what is said of hell in the Bible. And it blew my mind because I had an epiphany in a dream a month or two ago of that same eternal darkness. And when I woke up later that day or the next day after the dream, when I died, I got shot in the passenger seat in the dream after I punched this guy in the bar. And this was the first dream I ever was able to punch someone back or run or do something to defend myself. And I punched the guy in the bar, and I was in the passenger seat talking to someone in the driver's seat, and they just come up to the driver's seat side and they blow my head off. And I could just see him coming through the side, and as soon as the bullet enters my head, that eternal darkness, that same eternal darkness that I felt when the PCP over. I believe the PCP chemically lobotomized my brain, especially because I was 16, still going through puberty, and a lot of things, a lot of stress in my life and a lot of negativity storing up. So it just basically overfiled and over combusted the computer that is our brain, my brain in this situation. But I know I said a lot, but the eternal darkness, I was in eternal darkness for about a minute, and this was when I was 16, okay, so I'm not trying to get the timelines mixed up. But yeah, when I was laying on my back facing the sky and I was in eternal darkness, that's when my mind was in peace, in the sense where I was in black, like black, and I could just, it wasn't like I was sleeping either. It was just like I was in the black eternal darkness, and my mind was only guiding me, but I felt like my body was still in that darkness. And then I don't know how long it was, but I just woke up, and then I got my school. I got all my shit from school. I apologized to all the people there. I apologized to my friends, saying like, "Hey, my bad. I reacted like that, but I gotta go right now." Well, yeah. Walking home, which it's probably like less than a mile from where I was living at the time. And I swear I was using the cars on the street to guide me home because I couldn't even walk. I couldn't even walk. I couldn't walk on my own. I feel like that's saying that out loud right now. I feel like that's how badly it combusted my brain. I literally couldn't walk without the cars guiding me. And after that day, my life changed. Not like I met God or I seeked God right away after that. No, I've only seeked God truthfully and honestly this year, I would say. And I'm 26, so it happened 10 years ago now. And yeah, over 10 years ago, because we're in August. But over those years, I was a different person. I wasn't even the same person how I was before I was 16. And I didn't even think that I died that day until recently, since that dream. Because God shows you what he wants to show you when you go to sleep at night in your dreams. He shows you that in the unconscious or conscious realm, like, I don't even know how to describe it, I guess in the unconscious realm. He shows you all those things in your dreams because if he were to show that to you in real life, it would kill you. You would have a heart attack or some health issue, you know? Some label at the end of it, but it was ultimately God showing you that epiphany in real life. That's what would happen if he would show you the dreams that he shows you at night. And, well, I think he showed me that for a reason, and the way I was after that event and when I turned 17 a few months ago, I was a whole different person. And I think even though I wasn't perfect, I think it was God sent, like, straight up, that happened. And God was ultimately the one that saved me from that eternal darkness that I saw and felt. And I bring all of this up not even to speak of the eternal darkness that I experienced, but how the world is going these days. How people are having AI psychosis or this, that, and the other. After that event, a few months when senior year started, I ended up telling my grandparents and my dad, like, hey, I'm mentally not okay. I need to go see a doctor. And then that's when I went to the doctor. I did these questions. I did this survey of questions. And I ended up telling the doctors in the conversation while they're asking me the same questions that I filled out on paper again. And I had researched my symptoms way before. And when I realized what it could be, that's when I asked my grandparents and my dad for help in the sense of hospitals. And I basically self-diagnosed myself with psychosis because I was researching it. And then I was convinced enough in fear, and I told the doctors, I lied to the doctors in a sense as well, but I told them a lot of truthful things in that moment, in that part of my life, how I was feeling. But I lied a lot too, so that's why it's like psychosis is not understanding what's real or fake. People have spiritual psychosis now, I guess I'm hearing these days, and I heard about that AI psychosis with the older generations or anybody really. So, seek God first. None of us are perfect. Man, the last 10 years, 16 and 17, it felt like I was a 1-year-old kid again mentally because I was asking myself questions like, how am I moving my left hand without even like telling it to move it? It just moves automatically. Same with my right. It's just all automatic. And that's what they call in science the autonomous nervous system or whatever. It's something with autonomous though, because it's automatic and it's unconsciously activated always. And I was thinking of questions while I was during my lunch breaks in high school. I was just sky gazing during lunch in the library on the couch, feeling comfortable listening to music, but just thinking about at that time, eating lunch or at lunchtime and at noon. I can't even talk right now, my bad. Experiencing lunch breaks at noon, but thinking in my mind deeply. Across the world, in England they're sleeping, and in Australia they're sleeping, and whatever other country that it's nighttime right now, they're sleeping, or they're starting their day because they're a night style life country, however it goes. But those were the questions I was asking myself at 16 and 17. And I think that was a blessing, because throughout the next couple of years after 17 up to 21, a lot of friends during the high school stage, they became their own person, let's just say, as I did. I've already forgiven them too for everything, and I don't really care if they forgive me, because to be honest, I don't deserve the forgiveness. I was a coward. I was a liar. I was a thief. I was anything I had to be to get what I wanted at that time. And I didn't care if I destroyed people or if I made people feel bad, especially with my words. I feel like I put a lot of blame on my old friends. I put a lot of blame on my own parents as well, my sibling as well, my friends, my exes. But at the end of the day, I was a coward. I ran away from a lot of things when I should have been a man. But that's the thing. I decided a long time ago that there was going to be no one for me to decide or for me to go to tell these things. And, there's no one to blame besides myself, because all these consequences of my actions I set a long time ago, years ago, when I broke my own word when I was growing up at a young age. I broke my own word on the dreams I had set on myself way before anyone even knew me. Broke my word on that, and then became something entirely different. I've committed sin upon sin upon sin. I am chief sinner. And until the day God comes back and His Son comes back, I seek only Him. For I understand no man is worthy of your soul or spirit. The world is going crazy, and it will keep going the same and even worse. But I'm grateful that I'm not in that eternal darkness. I feel like I'm not even fully aware of how that eternal darkness was back then, because it was so quick. I was so fearful that day, and I had before been, and for a lot of years after, I was fearful still. And now in these days, I really am not fearful. I fear more the judgment of God than death, and any man on this planet, on this world. I fear God's judgment more than that. Trust. I say all of this because there's going to be a day soon where they're going to be telling you to do this, to do that. And if you break even just a little bit, you're going to break everything of yourself subtly. How the enemy does it. And like a serpent and not like a dove. So we're all grown-ups at the end of the day. Especially if you're listening to this, you are a grown-up, even if you're young, because you know what you do when you sign up to the profiles of the websites like YouTube and Google and Gmail and vice versa, okay? We're all a certain age, supposedly. And I was at a certain age when I was younger, putting fake information so I could actually access, thinking I was old and wise enough to interpret these things. And not these things, worse things. So I don't say any word in my videos to judge anyone. I hope you guys know that. And I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves every day as you wake up in the morning, and God lets you wake up with your eyes open. Let the joy come in and let God guide the day. Don't be fearful. Trust. It could always be worse, and as the world is ending, it will. But it's okay, we got each other, alright? And more importantly, we have God to seek. This ain't the end. God's kingdom is returning, so that's literally, I don't know. If that's not worth all the suffering now, I don't know what will be, guys. And one more thing, all these celebrities in Hollywood are being blankety blank, right? But I hope you guys realize that God is the one who ordains that to happen. God is the one that lets the enemy go do what they do to whoever is being idolized in what field. And we all have idols, okay? This is an idol. So it could be a celebrity, and this is an idol. However, as you seek God truthfully and honestly with your heart, and by the end of it, it's going to be okay. It is okay. It is already okay. But yeah, let's not judge one another, alright? And let's uplift one another only. May God bless you guys. I'll see you guys soon.